when I was a kid, a little baby, in a 1970s style walker. So, you know, they weren't real safe. And I was sitting in it. You know, it was in the kitchen of our house. Apparently, I decided I wanted to be in the basement. So I just rolled myself down the stairs in my thing, and I left the skin of my nose on the second step, and I ended up at the bottom of the steps.
Sure.
And they had to stitch it back on when I was a little baby, and I had a scar for a pretty long time. Inspired by the adventures of our nurses, therapists, and techs, A Beer with Atlas is the only healthcare traveling, craft beer drinking podcast. Each week, we'll open a few beers, talk about the brewery and the style of beer, and then dive into some research curated specifically for each episode. In the end, we hope each one sounds like a conversation you'd have with your friends while enjoying a few cold ones.
Welcome to another episode of A Beer with Atlas. I'm Rich.
I'm Brian.
Oh, I'm Dolan.
We're a little rusty, folks.
We haven't done this for a bit.
Not in office, that's for sure.
Right. So we're going to try to do this. We're going to try to do this as safe as possible. We took each other's temperatures in the normal forehead way. Yeah, not in the way you would take a toddler's temperature.
No.
No.
Armpit.
Not at all. Well, yeah, okay, sure. That's exactly what I meant. Armpit. So I took a little vacation to the mountains. I figured the furthest I could get away from people would be in the mountains, which is absolutely true. I didn't see anybody for you could go hours and hours on a hike and not see anyone. But then the reward, we've talked about this before, the reward that I get for hiking with my wife is brewery afterwards.
Yes.
And we didn't go to this brewery. They're a little too far from where I was. But I picked this up at my favorite watering hole there in Estes Park, Colorado. This is Noses Brewing Company, Raspberry Blonde, ale with raspberries.
The can art's pretty cool.
The can art's great.
I like those mountains in there.
Yeah. I'm going to break it to you guys now. I hate raspberries.
What?
They are the devil's fruit.
Oh my gosh.
What is it? Really?
I mean, I did research and I saw nothing about the devil's fruit.
No.
That might be your personal opinion, Dolan.
It is.
So you're not going to like this then? You are not going to like
What if
this.
he likes it, though?
Well, here's the thing.
I hope so.
The only thing raspberry that I do like...
Cough medicine.
No.
Blue raspberry popsicles.
I like... Well, blue raspberry... I like blue raspberry.
You know there's no such thing, right?
No, but it's better. No. So, raspberry tea. You know those 99-cent teas?
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty good.
You may actually like this then.
It's got good color. Look at that.
Oh, the color's pretty.
So they weren't joking on the raspberry, apparently, just by the color. I can tell.
One of my favorites out of Colorado. So raspberry is by far my favorite fruit in beer. By far.
Wow. Okay.
I will always default to a raspberry beer. Always.
Nice.
You like the sweetness?
I like
tartness?
All of the above.
All of it, yeah.
All of the above.
I like peach beers.
See, I'm not a peach guy.
In a wheat, yeah, I could do that.
Peach wheat?
Yeah, peach wheat.
Now, this has taken over as my favorite Colorado raspberry beer. It used to be Princess Yum Yum from, is it Denver Brewing Company? Princess Yum Yum is a raspberry Kolsch, and it is delicious and refreshing and all
Summer
of the above.
Seasonal, I'm assuming?
It's one of their year-rounds, but it is very popular in the summer, yes. So this one's a little bit different. It's not a Kolsch, it's an ale. So
it smells like straight raspberry juice.
I can't wait. Go, Dolan. Go.
He's going to just... Don't spit it back in.
No. Yeah?
It's not bad. It's refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah, smelling it, I think it would be more tart, but tasting it, it's not at all.
I made the rookie mistake of putting a mint in my mouth before I got here.
Bad idea.
It actually worked out pretty good.
Oh.
That coolness and then the fruit just tickled my taste buds.
Mint raspberry. I guess it isn't overwhelming raspberry.
No.
But it's enough that it gives it just a nice, refreshing flavor.
It tastes real. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you get that fake fruit flavor, and that is off-putting. But this one tastes pretty dang good.
So we were going to go here. So when we go, my brother lives in Centennial, which isn't too far outside of Denver. It's a suburb of Denver on the east side. And we were going to go here. It was about an hour drive for each of us. And generally, we're within 45 minutes of each other whenever we're there. And so we were going to go here and then chose to go someplace else different. We got distracted by comic book stores. And
I mean, that happens.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we went someplace else and had beers. Anyway, not nearly as good, but the food was decent. And this place just has food trucks.
Oh, okay.
So I wish we had gone, but at some point, Broomfield's not far, so we'll make it someday. Here's what makes me really sad, though. Like, I love the story of breweries, and I love, all the guys that started and everything. There's less than zero information about them online.
About this place?
Yep.
Really?
Nothing.
I found some.
I found nothing.
Their
website doesn't even work.
I found stuff.
I don't.
Do you want to know where it came from?
Please.
Four Noses name. Okay, so this is my. I don't have this in my notes. This is just I read it and now it's in there. So this is my mishmashed version. But
okay,
I'm gonna go ahead and wager that these folks have some money. This family that started this. Okay. Because the story starts in like Italy or something like that.
Whoa.
And they're over on vacation. They're hanging out and they're drinking beer.
Where did you find this?
It was like on their website.
Yeah.
So they're drinking these beers and European beers, flavor beer, not Coors Light, basically.
Right.
And they're like, whoa, this is really good.
Okay.
We should think about doing this sometime. So they start home brewing. And it's like two brothers, a mom and a dad, I think. And I think the name of the place comes from because what we just did, we were doing this. Well, this family has prodigious noses, very big noses.
Big noses.
And they were all four sniffing beers before they were drinking them.
Okay.
And somebody said, hey, that's kind of funny. And it stuck out. So there's four noses because all four of the family members were smelling the beers.
Because they got big schnoz.
And they have connections in Napa. Because I was reading, like, it's one of their barrel-aged beers. They're like, well, we used our barrels from Napa to put on our beer here in this town in Colorado. And I was just like, okay, well, everything I've read here tells me it was, cha-ching, expensive. So somewhere along the line, they got some bucks. This wasn't one of those, like, you and me in the garage and, making homebrew in a bucket.
Not the typical.
No.
Okay.
But the idea was, like, this is awesome. Let's take it back to where we live and make it available to a lot of people, which is, common story. So,
sure.
But that's my watered down version of where that comes from. And it's the whole family. It's like brothers, wives, mom and dad, and maybe, I don't know. In my story, there's going to be a grandma. She's just in the back washing glasses. But it's a whole family deal. So
the old Italian grandma, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she makes meatballs for dinner.
For the food truck. She's got
and
her
they're
own.
Amazing. Well, we can make that up because I couldn't. When I went to their website, it just said it was just a white screen, and up in the upper left-hand corner, it just said reset.
So, you know what's funny? That means you got blocked, because that happens to me.
How did I get blocked?
I don't know.
So I got to talk to Lane then about.
Yeah, because one of the other episodes we were doing, I got blocked, so I had to go through my phone and do some research. But
normally we block Dolan.
Yeah, we tried to block him.
No.
He knows his ways around.
See, exactly.
Lane and I are pals.
I was gonna say he's a lot younger than us. By default, he knows computers. We're in trouble.
We know the computer.
So that's four noses because they all have big noses.
Oh, okay.
Or big-ish. I saw a picture. I wasn't like, holy crap. I was just like, oh, I guess those are noses.
They got a big nose.
Yeah, I mean, not even really. I've seen people with a lot bigger schnozzes.
Yeah.
So related. I did some research on that.
On noses?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do that, and then we'll swing around to the devil's fruit. I did some. I was reading this article, and this guy who's an engineer. He's not like he's a scientist, but not in this sort of way. But he said basically that there are, per his research, there's 14 types of noses on people. Like that's it.
Like styles.
Yes, like what they look like.
Okay.
And he basically paired up each one with like a famous person. So I will say the person's name, and then hopefully you can think about like what it looks like, and I'll have a little bit of a description and like how many percents of the people.
No,
we'll see. how that works.
I don't know. This just famous people noses. Here we go.
We're not like talking about like boobs or anything.
No,
It's
noses.
not. Right, it's
Dolan's
noses.
like, what's a nose?
Okay.
He's never noticed that
Okay.
before. Okay, the majority of people, 24% per this guy, have the Einstein nose. It's like a fleshy nose, they say.
Okay.
So if you can picture his nose, the problem is I picture his mustache too.
Right.
So it kind of distracts me a little bit. But I think that's probably about what I've got.
But it's a quarter of all people.
Yes.
Wow.
So some of these break down in very small percents.
Okay.
The next one is Vladimir Lenin. So the Russian leader.
Okay.
He had kind of like an angular pointed nose.
Yeah.
That was 9.4%. Bill Clinton, 0.45%. Because his is kind of round on the end.
He's got a little bulb.
That's called bulbous. Good nose knowledge for you.
Yeah.
I really do think I don't pay attention to noses because
Oh
these
my
people,
gosh.
I'm just remembering their eyes, their chin.
Their hair
Ears. I remember ears.
I don't
like how
remember
far they
ears
stick
either.
out and stuff.
hang down. Someone's yeah.
I gotta get better with details.
Here's one I didn't even know who this person was. So I don't know. Celebrity. Carrie Mulligan. I think she's an actress. It's turned up at the end. So it's almost like Bewitched, like Elizabeth, what's her name was on Bewitched. So it goes normal and then it goes up at the end.
Oh, kind of
points
curved.
up.
Okay.
And they say that's one of the most attractive styles. So when people rate faces, that's a feature that ranks high. Is the nose that turns up.
What was the percent on that one?
That one is 12.9.
Oh.
And then another one that ranks high as far as looks is the Elizabeth Taylor nose.
Oh, yeah.
They call that a snub because there's like not much there at all. Just kind of sit. It's almost like Voldemort.
That wasn't surgically done. was
Well,
it?
not at the beginning.
In the okay.
4.7%. That one says it's small, sloping upward, and the nostrils are visible, very visible. So kind of, you see that. JFK, John F. Kennedy, 16.3% have his nose. Let's see, Mona Lisa from the painting. They call that the Greek nose. It's perfectly straight, just.
Yeah, it's very. Very angular down, right? I mean, it's
That's 3%.
okay.
The David from the statue. Now I know there's other parts of the statue that are more memorable than David's nose.
Sure.
However, it has a slight bump at the end, so it's like normal, and then it's like whoop at the end. There's a little bit of a bump.
My brother-in-law has this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's not alone. 9%.
Okay.
Joseph Stalin. So that's long and straight, and then it slopes down.
Man,
That's 8.8%.
2 Russians on this list.
Yes, right?
2. Yeah. Okay.
Marilyn Monroe. Very narrow, very skinny. Think of like Michael Jackson pre-death. Very skinny. 0.8%. 0.8, not even a whole percent.
Okay.
And then the rarest of all, 0.05%, is, I saw a picture of it. It was weird. It was like flat, pressed up, and then rounded at the end. They said nobody famous has this nose. They call it the anonymous.
Huh.
Because it's so rare and it doesn't really look that good. It's kind of off-putting.
Yep.
Looks like somebody smashed your face, basically. Or like
Like a pug nose.
kind of, or like remember in Pee-wee's Big Adventure when he wraps a tape around his nose?
Yep.
It looked like that. And that's not, I don't know, not the best look for
That wouldn't
some
be
people.
attractive.
So yeah, 0.05.
I'm shocked at the lack of ethnicity on that list. Like
Yeah.
there are Kurt Chase here. It looks like Kurt's nose. I've noticed this before, just in looking at him. It looks like you could touch all the way to his brain.
Wow.
Like you could just like stick your pinky
straight
finger.
line.
A straight line.
Yeah.
But I mean that there is something very definitely there's an ethnicity to that.
Yeah, it's all like a genetics thing.
Right.
The other thing I thought was interesting about this article is if you notice most of the names or celebrities were like from the 60s, 50s, and 60s.
Elizabeth Taylor and-
yeah,
yep.
and like JFK and stuff.
Yeah.
So if they did this, and it was published in a journal or whatever a few years ago. I mean, it wasn't like from the 60s or anything. Because this Carrie Mulligan is pretty recent as far as I know.
Yeah.
But if they redid this, it'd be interesting to put like, YouTube and Instagram influencers'
Right.
names in here, and then like everybody would be like, "Oh yeah, I know that. I know that one.
That guy.
I know, yeah, whatever."
Samuel L. Jackson has a very distinct nose. I bet that falls into one of those. You got the Sam Jackson nose or whatever.
So I wanted to talk about noses, like ones that aren't on the list. So one of the ones I remember always is Jimmy Durante, because it was huge, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You know who Jimmy Durante is?
He was the narrator on Frosty the Snowman cartoon.
Oh, okay.
So you might have seen that
A long time ago.
Yeah.
He sings the song too. Frosty the Snowman.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I've seen it 1,000
Yeah,
times.
me too.
Right? I have 3 kids, and it was
It was one of those annual you had to watch them shows. Who else has a interesting nose? I was trying to think.
Did you look at is the gin blossom a real thing? Like that was if you're a severe alcoholic, then that could form the little bulb on the end of your nose.
That's a real thing. I'm going to tell a story because I don't think my mom listens to this.
Good.
When I was a kid, we're talking 6 years old, maybe, or 7. I spent a lot of time on the farm, and half a mile from the farm was my grandparents' church. You could see it from the porch of the farm, right? So, like, my grandma would go there on Saturdays and clean the church, and I was at the church all the time. Well, on Sunday, there was this guy, a farmer, local farmer, that would sit, and everybody, it wasn't like assigned seating, but everybody had the same parking spot, and everybody had the same pew that they would sit in. It was
of course. Yeah.
You know, if they weren't there, you didn't sit there.
Right.
Kind of like your spot at the bar.
Yep.
So up one row and to the right side, this guy always sat by himself, and he was an old man. Me and my sister, behind his back and to ourselves, we called him Potato Nose. Oh. And it was because he had a legit potato nose, because he was now I know he was just a huge alcoholic. But when I was 7 years old, I was like, there's a dude with a russet potato on his face. And I think my grandma found out we were calling him that, and she got pretty pissed. And so we weren't allowed to call him Old Potato Nose anymore. And I remember his name, but I won't say it. But it's just, it's weird what you remember from. I mean, that's one of my early memories, is this dude walking around, and there's a dog over there. That's cool.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, we're trying to kind of get back to normal with a very select group of people. Obviously,
Right.
It's a very small group here in the office. Not many, 7 or 8 of us that rotate. So
bring a beer in, you can get in.
absolutely,
Sounds like
without a doubt,
exclusive.
Yeah.
Dolan,
Yeah.
any nose stories? Ever break your nose?
No, I've broken somebody else's nose, but I've never broke my nose.
Okay.
Not on purpose. I was playing football, and my hand went up in somebody's face mask. and,
Sure.
you know, maybe
An
it was on
accident.
purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does Dolan have the Bill Clinton nose?
No.
Which one is it?
I think he's got he's got the Einstein.
No,
Einstein.
I have that. You have that.
Yeah.
Look. It's got just a little of the little.
Maybe he's got the.
roundedness on it.
We call it, in my family, we call it the Delano nose.
There you go.
Because we all have it.
Maybe it's the David.
Maybe
Slight bump at the end.
Oh, maybe that's it. Yeah. Oh, there you go. That
I don't
be.
know.
Yeah.
So basically, your famous statue carved from stone, the body of an Adonis.
My statue would be a lot better. Just, no.
David updated for the 21st century. I had another nose story. Oh, my nose. When I was a kid, a little baby, in a 1970s style walker. So, they weren't real safe. And I was sitting in it. It was in the kitchen of our house. Apparently, I decided I wanted to be in the basement. So I just rolled myself down the stairs in my thing, and I left the skin of my nose on the second step, and I ended up at the bottom of the steps. Sure. And they had to stitch it back on when I was a little baby, and I had a scar for a pretty long time.
I remember one of the times. So my dad's been dead for a number of years, 20 plus years. One of the worst beatings I ever got.
Yeah.
Was because we were super young. My brother and I were super young. I can't even remember how young Mark was. He was probably, in it, 2 or maybe 3 or 4. So I'd have been 5 or 6.
Yeah.
7, somewhere in there. I'm 3 years older than him. One of his stuffed animals broke open, and there was those little plastic beads, those little foamy beads.
Oh yeah.
And I said, "How many of those do you think you can shove up your nose?"
Oh, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, and he starts shoving them up his nose.
Oh,
I'm
boy.
like, go, 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 go. And he's just shoving, going, going.
at you.
Blood's coming out the other side. And
Geez.
shoving these things up his nose. Horrible. Like, Dad comes home, and oh man, he was mad.
Yeah,
we had to go to the emergency room. They had to suction all of them out of his
Yeah.
nose.
I bet he doesn't. Does he remember that? your
Oh, he
brother?
remembers, yeah.
I would too.
Yeah. I got a beating.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So what was your thing? You just wanted to see him do it?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like a brother.
But that's what big brothers do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
We were eating spaghetti one time,
Oh boy.
Oh, boy.
and my sister was in a high chair, and at this point, and she sneezed a spaghetti noodle through her nose.
Oh, I've done this.
Have you? Yeah, she was, and then the noodle came out her nose, and I was like, Mom,
That's pretty freaky.
Bella's got a noodle in her nose. And my mom's like, what? And of course, I'll never forget the image, but my mom just grabbed it and pulled it out of her nose. And it was just,
It's like one of those silk kerchiefs in a magic show. Just keep pulling it.
I sneezed a whole macaroni noodle out of my nose. We were playing
Dang.
Tecmo Super Bowl in college, and I'm eating macaroni and
Yeah.
cheese and drinking some sort of red alcoholic beverage. I don't even
Okay.
remember what. Maybe Red Dog beer.
Yeah.
If you remember Red Dog. I don't even know. Some sort of red beverage. Sneeze. And I look in my hand, and there's a whole red macaroni noodle in my hand.
Wow. Noses are weird, man. That's for sure.
It's
Ugh.
yeah.
How about this? I did a little science research for us here.
Okay.
Raspberries. Genus Rubus.
that's-
Founders has a beer,
Rubeus.
right?
Oh, it's on Nitro.
Yeah.
It is delicious.
Raspberries are in the rose family.
Really?
They grow in a bush with thorns, just like a rose, I
Okay,
guess.
yeah.
They say that red raspberries may have come to the United States basically from prehistoric times. So people walked across the land bridge and brought them with them.
Because they're delicious.
Yes, they didn't want to leave them behind. So United States, the only ones that are like natural or have been here are the black ones.
Okay.
Black raspberries, the
Yep.
wild ones that you see. And then the red ones were brought here. So those are the two major types. Now you can grow them together, combine them, and that makes a purple one. So we were talking about blue raspberry earlier. Well, there is purple raspberries.
Okay.
And there also is yellow. Have you ever seen those at the store?
I want to say yes.
I have seen them, yes.
That's a genetic mutation of red ones. So it's not its own special thing. It's just something that they do, and it makes them go from the pigment changes from red to yellow.
And they're
So-
still safe to eat and everything?
Yeah.
I guess if they sell them in grocery
yeah.
stores.
So it's nothing different, really. It's just they scientifically changed a little bit and
Oh.
make it look. It's basically like a yellow pepper versus an orange pepper sort of thing.
Okay.
So out of those groups, then there's all these other things underneath it. So there's technically 200 different kinds of raspberries coming from two family trees of red and basically black. So that's how it breaks down. They were not cultivated or farmed until the 4th century. So people didn't start planting them on purpose until like the 300s. In Greek times, they were associated with like fertility. So raspberries were a sign of like fruitfulness, and when somebody got married, you'd give them raspberries and that sort of thing.
Oh.
They used to be in Greek mythology. They used to be white. Raspberries were always white, and they called her a nurse. I don't know what that means back then, but her name was Ida, and she went out to pick some, and she pricked her finger and got blood on them, and they've always been red ever since.
Oh.
So that's why they allegedly are red.
Well, that's true. I believe that.
So that's where that comes from.
Interesting.
Leaves of the plant were more valued than the fruit for a while. They were using it for medicinal reasons. It was good for like stomach issues and cramping and that sort of thing. And some people still use that stuff today. The juice. So if you squeeze it up, obviously you get something like this. I'm guessing this was probably a puree that they added to this beer.
Yep.
They used it for ink and staining for artwork. So you'll see it like in some cave paintings or on cloth, tapestry weaving, stuff like that. And then the first ones that were ever sold in the United States was 1771 by a farmer in Virginia. So before we're even a country, that's the first place that we're ever like you could go and buy them in the United States. George Washington had them on his farm next to the old cherry tree, maybe, that he chopped down. And in the United States, by the time of the Civil War, so we're talking about 1860s, there was 40 kinds of raspberries, and now there's like over 200. So in 150 years, we've added 150 types of raspberries.
Okay.
Let's see. Washington State is the state that grows the most. Most of the raspberries in the United States come from the Northwest, although there are some in Michigan and Wisconsin, and in like Nebraska and stuff, they'll grow. But you see more of the wild black ones usually.
What's the difference between a blackberry and a raspberry? Do you know?
I don't. I mean, other than that, the fruit itself is bigger. Usually, blackberries are bigger than raspberries.
And juicier and better.
And better. I mean, if you listen,
Yes.
those are the angel's fruit, according to Dolan.
I guess.
70 million tons come from Washington State, which is a lot.
That's a lot.
And they say that they'll grow all the way to the Arctic Circle. Like they found evidence of them growing that far.
Jeez.
But they like it cooler versus hot. So you don't see them in the southern United States. It's more of a northwest, northeast, that sort of stuff. We grew them on the farm. And my grandma would always make like raspberry jam or jelly with it. And oh man, when I was a kid, there was nothing better than a piece of white bread with some hard ass pat butter. You could, you spread it enough, you put a hole in the bread.
Yep.
You throw that raspberry jam on it. Oh my God, so good.
Missing out, Dolan. You are missing out.
The other raspberry thing I liked also came from back in those days. This was like the 80s. And on the farm, every once in a while, if I just begged and pleaded, my grandma would make us Kool-Aid.
Oh, yeah.
And there was raspberry Kool-Aid, and that shit was so good. It came in like a purplish maroon pack, and then they stopped making it. And they haven't made it since like the 90s.
No.
But, oh my God. I would do a line of that right now. If you brought it to me, I would just snort it up because it was so good.
They've replaced it with the blue raspberry.
I know, and that's junk. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
But the original raspberry Kool-Aid, 1988, coming in from playing baseball on the farm, sweating my ass off.
Yeah.
Big old ice, full glass, just raspberry.
Kool-Aid.
Right.
But if you do one packet of blue raspberry and one packet of lemonade, try that.
Really?
Yeah.
And one packet of vodka.
And
Sure.
that
Yeah, if you
sounds
want.
good.
this was something that we just did. Speaking of vodka, we just did. So my oldest daughter just graduated from high school. They finally just had the graduation, right? Which
Okay.
was still pretty uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was outside, football field. We tried to stay apart from each other, or whatever. I can still taste the raspberry here, so I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't have a fever.
That's good, yeah.
Luckily, right? Knock on. There we go. So for her party at our house, we had just select family and whatever.
Right.
The Kona Ice people came.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So for
Was that scheduled?
It was scheduled.
Okay, cool.
Yes. Yeah. For non-Omaha people, the Kona Ice people are just a
It's like an ice cream truck.
yeah.
They make snow
like a
cones and
snow
stuff.
cone. It's just like a Snoopy snow cone machine, but big and drivable. And we got some shooters, vodka shooters,
Nice.
to go in to make the adult version of.
Yeah.
Oh, they were good.
I bet.
Oh, they were good.
Interesting.
There's nothing better than tiger's blood with a little vodka in
A little
it.
bit of that. I saw somewhere online, I'm in one of those food groups, like an Omaha food group. There's some place that makes them with booze in them. You can buy them. You can take your kid and get a normal one, and then you can get yourself one with a little bit of something in it.
I can see how they could do this.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the girl driving the truck was about the same age as my daughter that
I was
graduated.
going to say, yeah, they're probably...
So she really couldn't serve us. And yeah,
Is it like it's a smaller truck, right?
yeah, it's not very big. It's like a little
So you
U-Haul.
can do your normal driver's license. You wouldn't need like a
yeah.
special license.
She was actually probably the same age, maybe a year older than Scarlett. So Scarlett's 17, same age when I graduated at 17 too, and she was probably 18, probably.
Yeah.
Man, she got that thing into a little tight space, backed it right back out. Like she was
better than me.
a pro.
I'm still trying to learn how to pull a trailer.
Yeah.
I'm serious. Like the other night, I got off of band practice at 3 a.m. and it was after a show that we had.
This is part of your problem, actually, probably.
Yeah.
And well, no, I wasn't drinking.
Yeah.
And I get home and I have to move Sam's car, get it out of the way, and our streets are really, really narrow.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I learned that if you put your hand on the bottom of the steering wheel and you move it to the right, the trailer will go right. If you move to the left, the trailer will go left. So I was trying to do that, and yeah, it took me way longer than it should.
Yeah, backing up a trailer is tough.
Yeah.
Trailer, RV. I tell you what, you want to start out a weekend off wrong.
Yeah.
Try to back an RV into an RV spot while your wife is spotting you.
Oh man.
Oh man, that's the way to start things off wrong.
I'm sure
Really
a
pumps
lot
up the blood pressure.
No boy,
Sure, a lot of travelers can relate to that.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't help. That's the best
Just
way.
find a spot you can pull in through.
Hey, but I'm proud of myself because I had to do it by myself because
Yeah.
Sam's sleeping
At 3 o'clock in the morning.
at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I made it in half the time that it took me the first time I backed it up with her showing me how.
So you got in about 4:30? Is that what you're saying?
That was the day Dolan was late to our 10:30 meeting because he didn't wake up until 11.
Well, you know,
No,
dang trailer.
that's how it goes. I'm sad that I'm at the last drink of this.
I know. That thing was good, especially when it was first in here and super cold.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You wouldn't
Yeah.
want to let that warm up too much, I don't think.
No. I had probably... So my favorite place in Estes Park is a place called Rambo's Longhorn Liquor. All right. So family
assume he's from
owned.
Texas?
He I don't know. I don't know where Rambo's from. Super fun guy. Tattoos, earrings. But man, he knows everybody. He remembers everybody.
Yeah.
He just... he is just... as you look at a business, like, why do you go back to that guy? I'm like, because that guy instantly knows me. And he may know my name. He calls me Omaha, which is fine.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, that means he knows you at least.
He knows me, right? And we're up there a few times a year, and this was the first thing. I'm always like, okay, what's new? That's my first question when I get into town, and I go to Rambo's. Matt, what's new? And this was the first thing he showed me this year. So he's introduced me to Odd 13.
Nice.
He's the one that introduced me originally to Weldworks.
Oh, wow.
To Juicy Bits. Like, we go
Yeah.
back a ways.
Well, no wonder you like this dude.
Yeah.
Those are all winners.
He knows. And so here's the thing. I've been seeding him with cross-strain for the better part of 3 years.
Yeah.
As soon as they started bottling and now canning, I bring it to him.
Yeah.
Because someday they'll be able to distribute in Colorado, and so then he will buy it. And he's already said, like, this is some of the best stuff I've had, or whatever. So he'll buy it, and
Nice.
so there you go. But yeah, this was the suggestion this time. They do a pale, they did an IPA, and I tried those. Those are good. I think this is by far probably my favorite out of all of them. I drank probably 3 6-packs while I was there.
Yeah, I could see that. This stuff is pretty tasty. Now, I like their website was cool, at least, because I wasn't blocked, so I could see it. But they do have every day a different food truck, sound like.
Yep.
It looked very modern and new in there. Just looked fun. Looked like a good spot. I'm really missing it. I haven't been in, other than picking up to go. Yeah. I haven't had a beer in a brewery since February.
Right.
And we're in, I don't know, August, September.
Right.
So, ugh.
That's where I'm at too. I'm just so starved for just a patio brewery experience.
Yeah.
That
patio is key because right now, like I just get spooked. I can't be too many people around. I'm just like, nope, I gotta go.
is that. I don't want to get too far into this, but is that? I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, is it? It's just like a weird. What is it? Agoraphobia when you're scared of going outside.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm a control freak, so I feel like I'm out of control in those places now, and I don't like it. So I am control on my deck. So I'll buy those beers from the brewery.
Yep.
A lot of places have like online ordering. You can just go pick it up, which is great, and enjoy it at home.
So Dolan cheated. He already checked this beer in.
Oh my gosh.
He doesn't count.
Oh, I didn't check it though.
He didn't look. He just checked it.
Oh, he just checked it. Okay, so 6,482 check-ins.
That's more than I thought there would be
There's a lot. Yeah, there's quite a bit.
for a town I'd never heard of.
Right. Broomfield's not real big.
Yeah.
It really isn't. What do you think? Dolan, what do you think?
Well, I rated it a 3.25.
Which I'm proud of you. That's good.
So yeah, it went a lot better than I was expecting. 3.4.
I'd say 3.63.
3.76. Ooh. So not too
good.
bad. 6,000 check-ins.
That's probably about where I'm going to go. I'll
pretty
probably
darn good.
3.75 this one.
3.75.
I'm gonna go. I went 4.25. I'll stay 4.25.
Yeah.
I mean, this is still my favorite raspberry beer out of Colorado right now, and I think I'd started making a list when I couldn't find any information on their brewery. I thought, screw them. I'm going to talk about every other brewery in Colorado. But I thought, no, that's not fair.
Yeah.
Because I really like this beer, and I really like, I really like the story that you told.
You better get your permissions checked because it's there.
Yep. Exactly. So,
have you ever had a raspberry IPA?
I want to say yeah, but I don't think so.
I don't think I have. I mean, you get a lot of fruit IPAs, but that's not one I've come across, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
And a raspberry stout sometimes? Have you ever had one of those?
Oh, yeah. Well, didn't we do...
We did one, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think so.
We may have done.
Yeah.
Raspberry truffle.
Oh, yeah. We've done that one.
From Avery, another Colorado beer. But I'll give them this. That it's better than the Avery version. But that's a stout. I mean, it's unfair because it's a stout versus...
It's just kind of fun to see what you can put raspberries in. I mean, raspberries, everywhere. So
I usually just avoid anything that says raspberry. That and coconut. But it sucks because sometimes I drink things with raspberry and coconut and think it's good.
Yeah.
It's very rare that happens.
Now you have to try it though,
right?
Because you might find something good.
If somebody else gives me it, I'll try it.
You won't buy it.
I won't actually pay for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but that's your thing with coconut. Isn't your favorite adjunct either?
No. But I will still enjoy it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Aaron Daly's the same way. He does not necessarily like coconut. Maybe for other reasons.
But there's been some good stouts that have coconut.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
there's a new beer coming out this week in Kansas City. That's a Pina Colada IPA, and it's got tons of coconut.
Get out of here. We need to do this.
It's called Rad AF. That's their rotating hop series down at, I think it's City Barrel, I believe. Yeah.
Clearly, they called one of my daughters before this and said, hey, what would you name this beer?
And that's what she said.
Rad
AF, bro.
Yeah. All right.
rad.
So, okay, one more summer-ish beer until we get into Oktoberfest. Oktoberfest kind of kicks off the sneak peek, behind-the-scenes curtain looking. It's August here early August as we're recording this. So there's already Oktoberfest beers in
There's already
Omaha.
pumpkin beers out.
That's ridiculous.
I'm just saying they're out.
That's too soon.
Where'd they get the pumpkins from last year?
Maybe.
They freeze them.
I don't know. I know pumpkin is out. We can't get it here, but Southern Tier has their pumpkins out.
That is true.
We've done that one.
Which we have done that one before.
Yeah.
I believe
It's right there.
Check that
it's
episode
right
out.
there.
Yeah.
That was an early
That's
episode.
so
Super
good. That was
early.
one of Seitner's favorites.
You have the hat?
I do.
Okay,
yeah.
the hat's in the screenshot if you want to
Yeah.
go find that episode.
Early. Go all the way back to the beginning.
Like episode 30 maybe?
I think it might have been earlier than
Before that?
Maybe.
Probably because
Maybe.
we
Like
started in July,
20s.
right? And
Yeah.
we were drinking pumpkin beers. So
Yeah.
it's probably in the 20s.
So one more next week. We're gonna go back to Hawaii, and we're not doing real good so far on visiting the states that we haven't visited yet.
Yeah.
but we've got a
It's
whole
tough,
year.
You know?
We got a year. We can
Yeah.
get there.
To be fair, the beer from Hawaii is coming from one of Justin Pedig's travelers.
Yes.
And before we had told him that we'd never done Hawaii, and then I kind of
then you broke it.
in and
Brought Hawaii.
stole his.
Well, you
Yeah.
know what I'll say? The one that we had that was Hawaii wasn't it Colorado Springs?
It was, yes, it was bottled
True.
and brewed there.
I will, an asterisk there, and we'll have Hawaii.
So legit Hawaii next
Yeah.
week.
Yes.
With recruiter Justin Pedig of Justin's Awesome Page, and we'll talk about a Hawaii beer.
It's legitness.
Big old beard of his. I hope he still has it. I haven't seen him in a while.
Oh,
He has
does.
not shaved since he shaved for C19.
Oh,
so
boy. Awesome.
True. Might have to shave again. Who knows?
Exactly. And then we get into Oktoberfest beers.
Which is one of your favorites. Yeah.
Who would have ever thought? I love them so much.
We're skipping over the producers month. Is that what we're doing?
Oh no, that's right.
You're so excited. You're just
So
like, we gotta
excited
get
for
there.
Oktoberfest.
Okay, you're right. I am excited for October. We will have a whole month of Oktoberfest beers, but it is Dolan's month.
That's right.
We're giving Dolan a whole month to choose 4 beers, 4 weeks worth of Dolan beers.
I am gonna send them through the worst roller coaster. No,
I
I'm just
know.
kidding.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's gonna be good. I promise.
No raspberry, probably.
Yeah, he probably won't have any of those.
No. So, all right, Brian, we're not going anywhere for a while.
Let's have another beer.
Thank you for listening to A Beer with Atlas. Special thanks to our brand team for producing the show. Each episode of A Beer with Atlas is powered by Atlas MedStaff, an industry leader in travel healthcare staffing.